Nosotros casualmente cuando estamos así de pequeños, nosotros vamos al río para verificar, digamos, dónde está el dorado, o qué es lo que hace, o hay una cacería. No, casualmente, ¿no? Para eso nosotros hemos nacido, ¿no? Nuestra cultura es de eso nosotros vivimos. Y para verificar, ¿no? Porque no casualmente, digamos, los guías que vienen no lo conocen así como nosotros lo conocemos, ¿no? Casualmente en la correntada y el paraquetito, ¿no? Ya esperando, digamos, para cazar y al sábado, o para corretearlo al sábado y para cazar, ¿no? ¿Le ven las aletas? Nosotros lo vemos la colita que es transparente, casi como las piedras. Hay piedras amarillas, casi no, pero es diferente. Cuando se mueve la colita, entonces ya vemos que es el dorado.
It seemed surreal that only months earlier I'd been corresponding in an email chain that would ultimately land me in the jungles of Bolivia. It was this man, Marcelo Perez, who had invited me to visit his lodge in Tsimane. Marcelo had uncovered a book from the early 1900s written by a man named John Hill, who took to the jungle with nothing more than an open mind and an arsenal of gear derived in the UK. Marcelo wanted to fly me in to see if I might follow in Hill's steps, and to finish what he'd started, but with an emphasis on trying to catch a Dorado on the two-hander. There was just one problem. Hill himself was not a fly fisherman. It took days to fly, boat, and hike into the upper exploration tent camp. We were on the lookout for jaguars and snakes, but it was the promise of the aggressive Dorado and hard-pulling pacu that had my attention. The people of Tsimane are all taught at an early age how to hunt, in the water and on land. The sabalo, a mid-sized migratory fish that the Dorado feast on, are a Tsimane dietary staple, and they lagged behind me to hunt for them while I targeted Dorado for catch and release purposes. I was in awe of their skill with handmade bows and arrows, and while it was the fly rod that was my weaponry, I was somewhat envious of theirs. Our head guide Juan was a native Bolivian and the local village's professor. He couldn't speak a lick of English, and my Spanish was just as hopeless. While we couldn't communicate with words, we spoke the same language when it came to hunting and fishing. I knew I was there to follow in Hill's steps, but it was Juan's who felt the most fitting. As all good things do, our time upriver came to an end when an unexpected rainstorm caused a flash flood. We had 12 kilometers of hiking and cross-wading to get back down to our dugout canoes. Filming was the last thing on our minds as we swam from one shore to the other and tried to get downstream without losing any of our crew. I was devastated to leave the untouched paradise I only ever dreamt could exist, but knew that we were headed to the tributary's main river, the Pluma. Naturally, I was just stoked to finally have some decent spay conditions. But try as I might, I couldn't manage to successfully cast the enormous surface area of the heavy flies and wire leaders on my shooting heads. I was beginning to fall apart, and while I could overhead cast the two-hander, the actual spay cast was a struggle. But persistence pays off, and soon I'd hooked into something rare for the fly. A catfish broke the lull with a series of jumps and runs, and a celebration was soon in order. I traveled to Bolivia in search of the Dorado, to explore the jungle, the adventure, and the mystery written so enticingly in Hill's book. I dove into the pages of his encounters and assumptions, but what I never expected to find was a childhood dream waiting for me in the depths of the rainforest. I went to Bolivia to experience someone else's story, but instead ended up writing a whole new chapter of my own.